bác quên đi xe cái bị áo ai ca biểu vậy ai các bác quên đi xe ai quên đi.
The dilemma for the Christian missionary is that ultimately, for your message to work, you have to convince them that they're wrong. I just can't find any evidence for God. They define everything according to the way they're living at the moment. The word for ear is awe, and the word for skin is awe, and the word for foreigner is awe, and the word for hand is awe, and the word for Brazil nut shell is awe. They don't have any numbers. It seems that every time I change my mind, I do make people mad. Why on earth would it be racist to report the results of my research? This is shocking to me, and it often angers me considerably.
In the wilds of the southern Pacific, a few brave men risked their lives catching monster fish.
Oh yes, now that's a better fish.
While the rewards can be great,
yes,
the dangers can be greater. The prize is one of the most sought-after fish in the world, high-grade tuna worth tens of thousands of dollars. It's where fortunes can be made and lost.
No fish today.
This is longline fishing, one of the toughest jobs in the world.
What a bad day at the office.
Frightening season storms, deadly sharks.
Watch him, he's a bit schizo.
Back-breaking work.
There's that fucking fish on the boat.
Near misses with giant ships.
This is not the spot to be.
If disaster strikes out here,
About 4 miles.
rescue can be hundreds of kilometres away. It's one hell of a way to earn a living.
Look out, look out, look out!
Skipper Paul Laval,
Alright, let's do this.
drowning in debt, he drives his crew hard to succeed.
I've got a fucking debt bigger than the fucking mountain, and they don't fucking realise how much fucking stress I'm under.
Rookie Tony Cross. At the age of 42, it's make or break for the first time.
Everyone wants to catch the most fish. It's a pressure job, you know. You've got to make money for the boys. They're not out here because of my good looks, obviously.
And larger-than-life Chuglagana, the big skipper, the big boat, with the biggest running costs.
To run a boat like this costs you $3,000 a day. So you've got to catch fish every day, otherwise no money. The name of the game is catching tuna.
Hardliners, risking it all for prized southern tuna. High stakes on the high seas.
The effect the press has on you makes you crazy. What is success? And I started having a bit of a neurotic freak out because I realized my whole life has been dedicated towards success and trying to achieve it and all this, and I had no idea what it was. I had a diary as a kid, but I sort of didn't get the point if you weren't publishing it. Quincy Jones attributes all his success in music to Creed cologne, so I got myself a couple bottles of Creed cologne. You know. For me, it always felt totally normal to be 14 and making records, and it was all I really knew instinctively how to do.
I'm Bentley, I got my own album out, and that's the sign of the times.
Spirituality works. You know, it's so simple. How did it feel to shoot the divine? I mean, that's like the ultimate in filmmaking. We don't have the same style.
No, you have a style that you think people would like that.
At a time when everyone in music was so cynical, he was so pure and very optimistic.
I thought, he's so amazing, but God, is he arrogant.
I love you, Ben.
I loved being with him for as many years as I was, because he is delighted by the world.
Hidden cameras will monitor their psychological mettle when each one deals with a very sticky dilemma.
Do you like marshmallows?
Yeah.
This is a game where I'm going to leave when I'm out. If you want, you can eat the marshmallow. But if you can wait, I'll give you 3 when I come back. Okay? Good girl. All right, so I'll just be outside and I'll come back when all the sand is through.
One of the early studies using this was done at Stanford with 4-year-old children, and they found 1/3 of the children were able to delay and 2/3 were not. And of that third who were able to delay, when they went to re-interview them when they were 18 years old, they were all doing very well in their life. Academically, socially, emotionally, they were well-adjusted people. Whereas quite a number of those who didn't have that early capacity for self-discipline were having more problems in their lives. Wyatt really wanted that marshmallow, and he used a variety of strategies to try to get through that waiting time. Just trying to look away and to take your mind off it is a very good strategy when you're in that situation with the temptation right in front of you. So he starts off using those, but then he uses others that are actually harder to make work for you. Like Shine was talking to herself and saying, no, I mustn't do this. So we see little shakes of the head and things like that, just to focus herself on, no, I will not eat this. She was seriously tempted by that marshmallow, but she found ways of resisting. So she got up and she walked around. She seemed to have very good ways of regulating her own behaviour.
The kids are proving they're not slaves to their first emotional response, and they can problem solve. An essential tool for the resilient child.
I didn't eat it.
You didn't eat it. What does that mean?
3.
You get 3 because you left that one there. There you go. That was the deal. Good girl. Yay. Is it going to be delicious? You can eat it. You waited.
With the pageant only a few days away, there is still a lot to do.
has ever done something like this before. So it's your trademark. Yay! Can you do it tonight? Yay!
Michael began to track the full effects of the disease, filming and observing patients from the first symptoms of Kuru, with headaches and pains, through to their final agonizing stages, trapped inside their bodies, barely able to move or communicate.
We didn't know whether it was going to continue to expand. I mean, the whole community might come down with Kuru. I mean, it was unknown for me and unknown for the people experiencing this. There were a lot of diseases that were killing people. People accepted the fact that children were more likely to die, perhaps, than to live. This is the general tenor of life in a traditional community, but there was this additional fear about Kuru, and in particular about Kuru sorcery.
Sorcerers were feared members of Papua New Guinea society, and sorcery is the local explanation for the cause of Kuru, a belief that remains even today.
Department stores create unending desire. They don't just sell goods, they sell a lifestyle.
In the 19th century store, a sudden explosion of goods under one roof transforms buying for necessity into shopping for fun. Macy's, Selfridges, Myers and others sell consumer desire in every department.
What the department store did was to fuel the aspirations for social progress, because people saw what the material rewards for that social progress would be.
The dazzling store liberates women.
The early department store was hugely empowering for women, absolutely. She could go unchaperoned, and she could go and escape from her home.
You know what? Shopping sows the seeds for female emancipation. For women like Miss Assist, a typical shop girl climbing a career ladder.
Is that a very young woman hopping into the rickshaw, travelling around Japan and buying for this great emporium.
So come on a journey into Seduction in the City, the fascinating story of how the simple department store transforms the globe.
It's been the dream of generations to take to the skies and fly. But the ultimate flying machine offers the promise of true flight. Just man and sky, the stuff of science fiction. The rocket belt. It's been 50 years since man first strapped a rocket to his back and launched towards the heavens. But in all that time, just a handful of men have ever followed. This is the story of one man's quest to keep the dream alive, to become a rocket man.
I love the smell of peroxide in the morning.
It's a story of obsession.
You know this phrase, it's not rocket science? Well, this is rocket science.
Danger.
You know, you have a bomb strapped to your body. You really do. This is deadly serious business.
If something breaks, you're going to fall and die.
And disappointment.
It isn't something you're going to learn in 4 or 5 flights. It's not.
Nothing can be that tricky. Actually, it is.
To be a rocket man takes more than courage. It helps to be a little bit crazy.
Modern Australia is an immigration nation. But 100 years ago, this wasn't the plan. The Commonwealth of Australia was built on a paradox.
The paradox was they were going to realise a utopia, but they were going to do it
through excluding the vast majority of humanity.
From 1901, this meant tough restrictions on immigration, the White Australia policy.
We would be an exclusively white community. There would be no one in Australia other than members of the white race. This was the objective.
The consequences were devastating.
Had my sister and my brother been allowed to come to Bendigo, they wouldn't have died. They died because of a policy.
Ironically, the utopian dream not only tore families apart, it also threatened Australia's economic future and may even have turned an ally into an enemy. This is the secret history of us. How modern multicultural Australia was forged against the odds.
Australia, the sunny continent.
White Australia is yours. The children were thrown overboard.
And celebrate a new life in this warm and friendly country. We will decide who comes to this country.
And here they are at last, amongst us, moving in triumphal progress through each city in its turn.
It was the first time a reigning monarch had ever toured Australia. Every Australian who's old enough can remember what they did when the Queen passed through their town.
We got a half day off school, and I think any one of us who was at school thought that was a pretty good thing.
We went to Erskineville railway station in Sydney and caught the buses to the showground.
Our school was chosen to be in a mass sort of display at the Melbourne Cricket Ground.
It was a full Scouts jamboree.
And we all wear flags. We've been given flags.
What a crowd! Many of them have waited there for more than 20 hours for this brief glimpse of their queen and her husband.
And we stood there. And we stood there. And we stood there. We just bloody stood there.
Suddenly a roar went up. All the kids, because out of nowhere came this Land Rover.
And the Queen was on the far side with the hand metronomically waving. And the Duke was on the near side looking out at us, probably saying, God, who are these deadbeats?
And there was the thousands of kids all dressed in white. So as she paraded round the outer part of the cricket ground, she looked like she was some kind of goddess on a cloud of white, floating around just like this. So we all yelled and screamed.